Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Curse of Oak Island treasure hunt faces being shut down after alarming news in episode 3. The entire treasure hunting operation behind the Curse of Oak Island faces being shut down after alarming news comes to light in episode 3 of the current season. It has been revealed. The revelation emerged in a new description for the episode released by the History Channel. It also disclosed how during the episode Rick and Marty Lagina and the team find hard evidence of Europeans being present on Oak Island more than 100 years before the money pit was discovered. However, their excitement at the evidence is quickly reversed when the alarming news is revealed. The revelation comes before the second episode of The Curse of Oak Island Season 5 airs this week, which we know sees the team investigate a treasure chest from the 1700s, and Rick and Marty receive stunning news about a find from the money pit, likely linked to one of the discoveries from the premiere, either the spike or the coin. It is not known what the alarming news in episode 3 relates to. However, judging by the promo clips released for the season ahead so far, it's possible that it could be linked to tunnels which Rick Lagina is seen exploring in the trailers, or perhaps one of the discoveries made, including the spike from episode 1 or a fragment of bone that is found, or the accident which takes place during the season. It's obviously also possible that the news could relate to something altogether different. It's almost certain that the operation doesn't get shut down, as they were still filming just weeks ago. However, the fact it is alarming does point to it being something serious, either a discovery or some sort of event that takes place. It's also not yet known what the hard evidence is that the team find, which shows Europeans were definitely on Oak Island more than a century before the discovery of the money pit. But to prove it has European origins, it would likely have to be something that can easily be identified as being made overseas, possibly a coin or a button or other metal object. Don't miss 10 fun facts about Rick and Marty Lagina. We told this week how The Curse of Oak Island Season 5 was watched by a record number of viewers. Official figures showed 2.95 million people tuned in to watch episode 1. An increase of 330,000 on the 2.62 million who watched the Season 4 opener. It's likely that that figure will increase for later episodes in the season, as viewer numbers generally increase as seasons progress. The Season 4 finale last year, the show's most watched episode since it started, saw 3.79 million people tune in to watch it live. The total number of people who watch the show is actually higher than the above figures, as they do not include people who watch the show on demand. In the heart of Oak Island, a bitter wind swept over the murky waters surrounding the infamous money pit, carrying whispers of lost riches and ancient secrets. But as dawn broke on what was supposed to be another hopeful day in the Lagina brothers' quest, a shadow darker than any storm cloud loomed over the island. Rick Lagina, ever the optimist, stood on the edge of the swamp, his boots sinking slightly into the soggy ground. His brother Marty, more pragmatic and cautious, was on the phone, pacing up and down the pier. The heavy fog had not yet lifted from the island, creating an eerie atmosphere that seemed to mirror the sudden tension in the air. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. Rick glanced toward the cluster of crew members gathered near the equipment, their expressions unusually grim. For years they had unearthed pieces of history, ancient manuscripts, foreign coins, fragments of treasure that hinted at a grand discovery just out of reach. But today, the air felt different, heavy with foreboding. Whatever news Marty had received had cast a shadow over their relentless pursuit. As Marty hung up the phone, his face was set in a hard line. Rick met his brother's gaze and saw the worry etched in his eyes, something that sent a ripple of unease through him. He approached, the sound of gravel crunching underfoot as he closed the distance. "What is it, Marty?" Rick asked, his voice low but steady. He was prepared for the worst, but hoping for something they could overcome. After all, they faced obstacles before. Marty took a deep breath, his hand tightening around the phone in his pocket. It's bad, Rick. Really bad. A knot formed in Rick's stomach. How bad? The government has gotten involved. Some new environmental regulations. There's been a report. Something about an endangered species being found on the island. Marty's words hung in the air like a lead weight, the gravity of them sinking in slowly. Endangered species? Here. Rick's brow furrowed as he tried to process the information. Oak Island had been their obsession for years, but nothing had ever suggested that the land was home to anything that could jeopardize their work. Marty nodded, his voice tight. Some environmental agency is pushing to shut down the dig. They're saying our excavation could be damaging the habitat of a rare bird species that nests in the swamp. Rick glanced out over the swamp, where they had spent countless hours digging and searching. The idea of halting everything, of abandoning their treasure hunt because of an unexpected wildlife discovery, was almost too much to bear. But we've taken every precaution, Rick protested. We've always been careful about the environment. We respect the island. Marty sighed. It doesn't matter. Some bureaucrat got wind of this, and now they're threatening to pull our permits. If they shut us down, it could be permanent. For a moment, neither brother spoke, the weight of the news settling over them. The treasure they had come so close to uncovering, the treasure that had consumed their lives for so many years, now seemed further away than ever before. Behind them, the rest of the team began to gather, sensing that something was wrong. Jack Begley, his youthful energy always a spark of hope, approached the brothers with a questioning look. What's going on? Marty exchanged a glance with Rick before addressing the group. We've got a problem. There's a chance the dig could be shut down. The silence that followed was palpable. Gary Drayton, the metal detecting expert, clenched his jaw, his weathered hands gripping the handle of his detector. Shut down? After everything we've been through? I know, it's hard to believe, Marty said. But we've just been hit with some alarming news. The island might be home to an endangered species, and now the authorities are involved. If we don't find a way to resolve this, we might lose everything. Craig Tester, always the voice of reason, folded his arms and looked thoughtfully toward the swamp. Is there any way we can fight this? Maybe bring in our own environmental experts. Prove that we're not harming anything. Marty nodded, but his expression remained grim. We can try, but it's going to be a fight. And the clock's ticking. If we don't get this sorted out fast, we're going to lose valuable time, and potentially our permits. Rick, who had been silent for a while, finally spoke. We've fought through setbacks before. We've had mechanical failures, financial issues, skeptics telling us to give up, but we've always kept going. This isn't the first time Oak Island has thrown us a curveball, and it won't be the last. His words lit a small spark of hope in the team, but there was no denying the weight of the situation. Every second they spent fighting bureaucratic red tape was a second lost in the hunt for the treasure. And with winter fast approaching, they didn't have time to waste.